All right, traders, happy Thursday. Welcome back to Tier 1 Trading Live Room, New York session. We got a Thursday that feels like a Friday. To me, at least, there's not too much happening in the market. Not yet, at least. We do have some news coming out at 8:30 today, GDP for the dollar, so that may send things moving. But it feels like one of those days where we do our rounds of analysis and we start our weekend early. So, not a lot on the radar today. So, we can do a viewer's choice if you want, for you guys that are on TradingView and YouTube for the live stream session, or we can choose between the dollar yen, which is in front of you right now, and the Australian S&P. Those are the only two things that stood out to me this morning. The yen is interesting because Bank of Japan basically came out and said, yeah, sell yen. It's cool. And so you look around kind of the yen pairs that we've been following, euro yen, pound yen, dollar yen, for those continuation opportunities. We've seen a lot of movement on there, especially the dollar yen, which came right to our reversal point. Did not give me the double bottom in which I needed for entry, but gave a really good higher high, higher close, and shot up a few hundred pips afterwards, which was pretty cool. And we spoke about, I was speaking to a trader the other day about personalities. I put out that podcast and whatnot. And I remember Jason talking about this on day 8 of the emergence workshop, about different personalities. We're both looking at the yen. We're getting our dollar yen. We're getting our long ideas ready for it. And we mentioned the personality of the yen, right? One of the reasons I love the yen is it's not always directional, but when it's directional, it's pretty directional, because the BOJ, the Bank of Japan, is pretty straightforward with their agenda, right? There's not a lot of kind of like trickery or any of that stuff. They're typically like, they tell it how it is, kind of like Canada, and they'll tell you when they're going to stop doing whatever they plan on doing. So if you can pay attention to the news and what's going on, it leaves some pretty significant directional clues on kind of what the future agenda is. And basically you can buy or you can sell until that agenda changes, which makes it pretty cool. Billy says he wants to check out the Aussie S&P. Here we go right here. We can look at this one. Or we're just asking, what is it? Sorry about that. Peeking over real quick. All right. Well, let's do this. We'll do the end since we spoke about it earlier, and then we'll continue on later. But let's start with the dollar yen. And we're going to start here on the daily time frame. You can see on the daily, real quick, Ali says, I have one fund on my bank which is fully focused on Japan. It has taken a 25% hit this year. Luckily, that fund is only a small portion of my investments. Yeah, I mean, everyone else is changing monetary policy. Bank of Japan is like, no, zero rates are cool. Zero rates are cool. US is going to hike like 150 basis points. Zero rates, we're cool with that. We're cool with the gap. And they've done this in the past. I remember having some really, I don't remember what year it is, but basically they kind of came out and said the same thing, where Bank of Japan basically, they didn't say it, but they came out and said, we're going to devalue our currency. And it was one of those things. My trading mentor at the time, I was trading in a position alongside of him, kind of a long-term position. And he was like, man, like, just whatever part of your position you have on, hold it until they say otherwise. Hold on to that trail until they say otherwise, until they come out and say, hey, we're no longer going to devalue our currency. Hold on and take it for the ride. And especially in comparison to the dollar, because right, we had the conversation yesterday about safe havens and the shifting of money around, and how your dollars, your safe haven pair, when everyone's risk averse, right? You invest in dollars, and when it's not dollars, it's the yen. And if your dollar is in direct competition with the yen as it is in the dollar yen. That's the beautiful thing about Forex. And one is, again, depending on how you want to, say it, one is easily more favorable than the other from a fundamental standpoint. Then it's kind of a straight shot. So it's that stuff is kind of cool. But you can see here on the daily, higher high, higher close, big breakout. Told you we saw some really big moves yesterday and today. Bigger question, as always, we want to ask ourselves, where are we at? Do we have room to move higher, right? And that's when we need to look left. You may need to pop out to a weekly as well to make it clear. And you're going to remember a little area of consolidation right in here, right? So this is our next relevant level of structure, this structural level right here, this zone. And the question is, and this is where it's going to take a little bit of your analysis, the question which you ultimately want to ask yourself is, where within this zone can we come to? Now, you may not need to worry about that until you actually get your trading signal on board, but we do have room to move higher. Again, you may not notice specifics, but our green line is where we're currently trading at, or you're currently trading at. There is certainly room to move higher here. So there is room to the upside on the yen. We can get into the details later once the trade is potentially triggered about where to. So now the question is this, or I guess you have one of two options, right? You can look for a potential move higher, or you can wait for the yen to move higher and then look for a counter trend opportunity. Now, we spoke yesterday about kind of news, and I think we were talking about the dollar index, right? Nearing like million-year highs, whatever like that. And the news of what happens, right? The news comes out and yen weak, dollar strong, all this fun stuff. It's going to flush a lot of other traders into the market. There's a good chance we'll get a pullback before seeing the next wave up, right? We saw the same thing here. We saw the same thing here, right? So based on your trading style, now you need to decide, how do you want to handle this situation? Can you buy right now at market? Do you need to wait for a high and tight flag, something of that sort, a little pregnant pause in the market? Do you need to see a pullback back in the structure before looking for an opportunity to get higher, right? Different traders are going to have different reasons in their plans. Your plan may have multiple reasons as well. You may have this as being your first area. You may have ways to attack this. You may have ways to attack a pullback. Again, ultimately, it doesn't really matter right now, but what you want to start doing is you want to start rehearsing how you plan on attacking this opportunity. Now, again, it's early, so you have lots of time to do it, but that's what should be going through your mindset right now. You go down to the hourly, you're going to see a little bit of a different story. Perhaps if you're a little bit more aggressive, you can see three significant probes right here. We have this first candle before the high right here. Pretty high volume candle, right? We see the long wick to the downside, the close to the upside, right? Tells us which side the volume is on. We then have another high, or a strong bullish candle, followed by this bearish candle. But even with this bearish candle, what do you notice? What do you notice? It's got legs to the downside. So it shows that although the bears did make a push during the session, hourly session, they were ultimately defeated. Candle ended up closing in a neutral area. Next candle did something similar, a little bit of a smaller candle. It's an inside, well, not quite an inside bar, almost an inside bar, but same thing, just in a smaller version of it, where price tried to push down to the downside, close in the middle. We're now following that up with a higher high, higher close. This would actually, if we can close higher, this would actually be a pretty significant signal of buying pressure, bullish strength. The fact that the sellers tried to fight down once, got rejected, fight down twice, got rejected, and now even lost control of the highs. So if you're an aggressive trader, right, especially more of a breakout trader because you're right at the highs, a higher high, higher close could be an aggressive reason for entry for you as well. So keep an eye on dollar yen. Again, this is very similar to what we were watching for the last few weeks on the pound yen. And again, you can see pound yen had a similar type of move right in our zone. Higher high, higher close right here. Boof, explosion up. Any questions about dollar yen? Again, short and sweet today for you guys watching on the live stream. Usually these things go about 20 minutes, but not all the time. But let me know if you guys have any questions. If not, then live streamers, I'll let you go for the week. Live roomers, we'll dig into something else. Hopefully you guys have some ideas. Again, I don't have too much on my radar. Probably be more of a day like yesterday where we dig down into the lower time frame to see if there's any day trading opportunities coming out, although we got to watch out for GP at 8:30. Going once. I know there's a little bit of a delay here. Hey, Mike. Going twice. Got to remind you for you guys watching on YouTube, if you haven't done so already, the Emergence webinar, Emergence event, I should say, recordings are only up for the last 2 days. So you got 2 days to check them out before they're gone. And I do not want the emails pleading and begging for us to keep them up longer. I don't want those. So I'm giving you as many warnings as possible. All right. YouTube Trading View. Thank you guys for joining. You guys enjoy your weekend. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out. Live rumors. Let me know if there's a place you would like to go next. Mark says real quick, do you trade crypto? I do not trade crypto, no. We look at it from time to time in here, but I do not trade crypto now. All right. If you have any more questions about that, Mark, again, I know there's a delay, came in at the last moment, but shoot it in the comment section below. I can answer any questions about that. I do go through and read each of them. So if there's a